Hey everybody, thank you so much for listening to this Count Out Network podcast. Before we get to it, I want to talk about our new Patreon that we have started. It is on patreon.com/countoutpod. We're very excited about it and very excited for all the things to you. Now, we're a small network here, and so, we're trying our best to raise our profile and do better things and bring more fun and enjoyment to the wrestling community, wrestling fun. Remember that? So we're doing our best to get there, but we need your help along the way to help bring us up even more. So that's where the Patreon comes in. It's just a little bit of support that you can throw, some money our way to the podcast that we have. Ring Post Radio, Your Dose of Death, How to Talk to Your Friend About Wrestling, Independent Waters, shows of that nature, Okada shorts. That Patreon is something that we will do. And of course, as a thank you for that support from you, that money is going to go to great people, to good causes, to those people that are doing great stuff for our podcast network. But as a thank you, we got great stuff for you. So we got 3 tiers on this Patreon. Again, patreon.com/countoutpod. The first tier is the support tier. It's just $3 a month. That's not bad at all. That's so simple and easy, you won't even see it leave your bank account. And of course, in there, you'll just get a straight up thank you from us, a shout out on all of our podcasts, thanking you for your support. And you'll also be able to join that Content a Month Club. So what that club is every month we will release one piece of audio, one piece of video, whatever it may be, for the support tier, for the $3 tier that is typically behind the $5, maybe even the $10 tier of the Patreon. So you'll be able to get that just for $3. You'll get that content for $3 every single month, and at the end of the month, they'll go back behind the other tiers. But if you want it all the time, you can, of course, get it in the Kayfabe and Shoot tiers. The Kayfabe tier is $5, where you'll get that thank you, and that's where you'll find all of our wrestling-related content, like the new show from Ring Post Radio. Ryan hasn't seen anything, of course, that's me. It's the show where I embarrass myself by admitting to the world matches that I had never seen, and me and Scotty Edwards from Ring Post Radio watch it along with you. Again, that's Ryan hasn't seen anything. And in that tier as well, you get the old content from the old network membership, along with special Discord access as well. So go check out the Kayfabe tier. That's only $5. And in the $10 tier, this is the most expensive tier, the Shoot tier, you get that thank you. You get all that older content. You'll get all those Kayfabe tier goodies of wrestling-related shows. But this is where you also get our non-wrestling-related content. If you really want to hang out with us, this is where it is. And you can do that through our monthly Jackbox Party Pack games with the whole Count Out family. Maybe not the whole Count Out family, whoever's available, I guess. But with the Count Out family, you can join along with us and play along if possible. And of course, you also get our current running show. It's a D&D show, Cantrips and Clotheslines, where you can follow the adventures of Andre, the Pebble, John Meowxley, May Duskmere, and of course, our wonderful DM, Jared Luthi. Some great content, some great shows there, all on our Shoot tier, $10. Again, go to patreon.com/countoutpod and join the Count Out Network Patreon today. Any of the tiers, we'd be very thankful. It's all going to good podcasters, and they would all very much appreciate it as well. So if you can go and donate and go put money into the Patreon, you'll get some great content out of it, I'm sure you. So definitely go check that out. We'd very much appreciate it. Now let's get back to the show.
Konnichiwa and what is up the internet? This is your good friend Curtis Spears back with another episode of Okada Shorts Short, G Wondering, for the G1 Climax 32 Tournament Night 12 from Osaka. And this one was top to bottom bangers. There was no two ways about it. This one was absolutely fantastic. I would implore you to go ahead and watch the entire night. All 5 of the block matches were fucking killer. So I'm going to go ahead and rattle off some of my thoughts for you, including my thoughts on installment number 5 of my favorite match series in the modern era. That's right. Even more than Okada and Omega. All right, let's get down to it though. First match, El Phantasmo versus Yoshihashi. It feels like ELP hasn't wrestled in weeks. Turns out it's been something like 13 days since he last wrestled, and it feels like it's been way longer. He's been competing in undercards and things like that, but I don't know, so much happens every day in these matches that if you're not wrestling in the main events, then it feels like you're not wrestling. The undercards, a lot of people don't get to watch every single one of them, so sometimes you might skip a day and just watch the block matches. I know that's what Rafe does, and that's completely fine. I try to watch as many of the undercards as you can. You get a lot of little story beats that way, but I mean, we've all got a lot of life to live and a lot less time to live it, don't we? So if you can't watch them all, I don't blame you. ELP is starting out with some huge dives, some huge moonsaults. He tries a senton. He gets caught with a pair of knees, and Yoshihashi is using his hands to great effect and some great fundamentals. Headlocks wearing down ELP, that sort of thing. But ELP wants to make a show of it, and Yoshihashi is very workmanlike, just wants the points. The more ELP tries to show him up, though, the more fiery Yoshihashi gets, and the crowd is rumbling for Yoshihashi when he starts firing up and scores a plancha of his own. Yoshihashi, at that point, begins showboating a bit more with like guttural screams and fighting spirit, while ELP begins getting more focused on his strikes and kicks with less show. They've kind of switched sides here. It was very cool to watch. There was an audible pop as Yoshihashi kicks out of ELP's Thunder Kiss 86. The crowd was loving it. And another audible pop as Yoshihashi scores a huge thrust kick, and another with a near fall from the Komagoroshi. Then 2 big pops for Yoshihashi's Karma finisher, and as the ref's hand counts 3. The crowd really lost themselves in this one. It was great stuff. And the crowd was really into it the entire night. I thought maybe they just really loved Yoshihashi. No, Osaka was fucking it, bro. They were on top of shit. So, let's look at the second match. Lance Archer versus Toru Yano. Yano looked like he was actively pooping his pants as he was heading to the ring. Archer was kind of playing Yano's game, taping Yano to the rail, removing the corner pads with Yano. Yano drags Nakashima into the way of a senton from Archer from the ring apron onto the floor, and tapes the young lion to Archer on either sides of the barricade. So Archer thinks, oh shit, I've got my arm through this barricade. I've got this kid taped to me on the other side. What does he do? He just pulls Nakashima through the barricade. It's a good thing they didn't try to do that to someone like Okan, who wouldn't be able to fit back when he was a young lion. Archer starts dragging Nakashima around, drags him into the ring, and actively uses Nakashima as a weapon to attack Yano. Kevin Kelly makes a Monty Brown reference when Archer hits the pounce, which is fucking awesome. That popped the shit out of me. And Archer scores a huge blackout for 2 more points. Archer should get 3 because he beat Nakashima too. Just pointing that out there. Archer has a really fun interaction with a fan who has a double-sided sign. On one side, it's a picture of Archer, and then on the other side, it's a picture of Sonata. And Archer's actively screaming at the girl, yes! And then flipping the other side and pointing at Sonata, no! It's really, really fun. The little girl looked like she was about to pee her pants. This one was really fun. Archer, you could tell, was having the time of his life. And Yano was really playing up the fear that I'm pretty sure any one of us would feel staring down Lance Archer. Okay, next match. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Hiroki Goto. And Goto just begins by falling into Zack's exact wheelhouse. He's trying to use his power to damage and intimidate Zack, who is at his best when he's working from underneath. He's falling victim to one of the classic blunders. No, he didn't get into a land war in Asia. No, he didn't go against a Sicilian when death is on the line. He tried to overpower Zack Sabre Jr. with strikes and power moves, and that just doesn't work. It doesn't work. Goto gets caught and Zack starts working his arm with multiple holds and strikes. Almost no control periods for Goto the entire match. Zack has been in complete control, and the crowd is gasping every single time Goto manages to escape a hold. After the 15-minute call, Goto finally starts to string some real offense together, hitting some huge slams, but using his injured arm to do so, and that leads to Zack finally capturing the arm one last time to submit Goto with a nasty armbar, and then straight out just says, and I'm going to quote here, I made sure to go back and write it down, "I'm the best technical wrestler in the world, and if anyone has a problem with that, they can get their ass on a plane to Japan." You know who he's calling out, and we all want to see it. Just give it to us. Just give it to us. Next match, Great Okan versus Jay White. Jay is starting the mind games with Okan early. He's ducking out of the ring. So Okan starts playing some back by coming at Jay with like amateur wrestling angles. Great Okan then begins to control Jay using his power. And Geto distracts Okan just long enough for Jamie to turn the tide and begin attacking Okan's legs. Okan's able to turn the tables, but so much damage is done to his legs and his power base that he's having trouble, and Jay is really showing why he's the heavyweight champion of the world. The crowd's just eating it up as Great Okan is trying to build back with some hope spots, hoping that he can wear Jay down with the claw. And as Jay gets the Great Okan in the position for the Blade Runner, Okan reaches up with that taped hand and gets the claw onto Jay White's face. Jay looks like he's in trouble. The crowd is buzzing, and he hits the Blade Runner anyway. A perfect 4-0 for Jay White. 8 points. He may just run the block. We've been saying since the beginning that Jay might just go all the way. He might just run the entire gamut. He might be the first world champion to win the actual G1. He may not set up any defenses along the way. Jay White might just be unbeatable right now. And he certainly looks like it. Finally, the main event. The one I've been looking forward to since the blocks were announced. It's the first time in quite a while we're seeing Will versus Shingo. Will Ospreay versus Shingo the fucking Dragon Takagi. I didn't even take notes for this match. I set my phone down and I let it wash over me. Every single time that Will Ospreay and Shingo Takagi meet, it's like I get a new favorite match. The story that they tell every single time is second to none. I just said how I think it's a better match series than Kenny and Okada. And I really do believe that. And maybe it's just me, but that's because I'm a big fan of both of these guys. I love Okada with all my heart, and I recognize the greatness that is Kenny Omega, but in no way am I a Kenny Omega fan. And even though I see how good he is, he's not someone who I would prefer to have wrestle in giant main events. Now, I'm not going to turn this into the why I don't like Kenny Omega podcast, because it's not that. This is not to say that Kenny's bad. Kenny is very good. Kenny's just not someone who I like to see wrestle that often. So, we get two people who I do like to see. Will Ospreay, who is, in a lot of people's estimation, the best in the world right now. And Shingo Takagi, who I think is the perfect wrestler because he's a great mix of power moves, explosiveness, and speed. And their chemistry is off the charts. They work together so well. Their first singles match in the Best of the Super Juniors 2019 was insanity. It was so good because it was not just the crowning achievement for Will Ospreay, showing that he was the top of the junior division, but it was really showing that we had two absolute aces at that point, because Hiromu was on the shelf, Kushida was somewhere else. You had some of the older aces, like Liger was still wrestling at that point, but he was on his way out the door. This was also before Desperado and Robbie Eagles had ascended. So it really showed that that division was in really good hands. And that was fun because we got to see two of the best in the world go at it. Then they both graduated to heavyweight. They put on G1 matches that were great. They put on a world title match that I think is probably one of my favorite matches of all time. It was definitely my match of the year last year. This time didn't disappoint. I know some people said that it kind of felt like it was a bit rushed or they weren't really telling a story. It was just move after move. I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like they were telling the story of these two knowing each other better than they know themselves. It's a masterclass in counters to counters to counters. And it was all done at blinding speed because these two have the best chemistry in the world today. So when you have an opponent who is as talented as Shingo or Will, and you have multiple chances to wrestle them over the last 3 years, this being their 5th match, you get the chance to really show what you've learned. You know, you can block Will's Oz Cutter and turn it into pop-up Death Valley Driver or something. Like, they were doing things that were off the rails in some ways. They were teasing going for like a top rope Last of the Dragon or a top rope Stormbreaker. And that might be the end of their next match together because they will have another match. Now that Shingo's beaten Will, he's going to challenge him for the US title. God, please let that be in October in the UK. Oh my God. I just thought that I might get to see that live. And let me tell you, that makes me very, very happy. If they can put on... Oh my God. If I got to see Shingo and Will live, I'd be so excited. Oh man. It's funny. I've seen some great matches. I've seen Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat wrestle live. That was my very first wrestling show my dad took me to when I was a baby. I barely remember any of it, but I think that this might be the best thing that I would ever see. I just blew my own mind, you guys. Oh man. Okay. All right. So yeah, Shingo catches Will finally with Last of the Dragon, and we have an interesting D block still. Let's go ahead and take a look at the block standings as it is right now. A block, Okada is at the top with 6 points. He's a perfect 3 for 3. Jonah with 4 points. He's 2 for 3. Fale, Cobb, and Archer all with 4 points, but they're 2 for 4. So they're under Jonah. Lawler has 2 points. He's 1 for 3. And Yano has 2 points. He's 1 for 4, and he is eliminated. So Yano was technically our first elimination. This is the part of the year where people start to fall off. So Yano, the very first to feel the chopping block. The B block, oh my God, the separation is huge here. Jay White is sitting atop the block with 8 points. He's a perfect 4-0. Taichi has 4 points. He's 2 for 3. Tamatonga has 4 points. He's also 2 for 3. And Sonata has 4 points. He's 2 for 4. Here we go. Check this out. Chase, Ishii, and the Great Okan are all at 2 points, 1 for 4, and all 3 of them are eliminated. Ouch. That one sucks. The C block. Tanahashi and Zack Sabre Jr. both sit atop the block, 3 out of 4 points 3 out of 4 wins for 6 points. Naito and Goto are 2 for 4, so they have 4 points. Kenta and Evil have 2 points, they're 1 for 3. And Hanare has 2 points, he's 1 and 4. He's on the verge. He's on the chopping block already. D block, David Finlay sits atop the block, 6 points, he's 3 for 4. Yoshihashi has 4 points, he's 2 for 3. Will and Yujiro and Shingo all have 4 points, they're 2 for 4. ELP and Juice both have 2 points. ELP's 1 for 3, Juice is 1 for 4. They're wrestling tomorrow, and the loser will probably be eliminated at that point. Going to be a big night for block action tomorrow. Your bad friend Rafe Houston's going to be covering that one for us. Let's go ahead and take a look at the lineup. To open the block nights, we've got C block action, Aaron Hanare versus Evil. It's their first time in a singles match. Hanare must win to stay alive. A block action, Tom Lawler versus Bad Luck Fale. That should be fun. D block action, Juice versus El Phantasmo. Juice must win to stay alive. Ishii versus Chase Owens. Both of those guys are eliminated. That's your semi-main. And your main, check this one out, Kazuchika Okada versus Jonah Rock from TMDK. That one's going to be fantastic. This might be where Okada finally tastes some defeat here. I don't think they're going to have two people go perfect in the block, and I think that Jay's going to do it. So this would probably be where Okada's going to fall. They've got plans for Jonah. You can feel it in your bones. So like I said, your bad friend Rafe Houston's going to be covering that one tomorrow. But as for me, I'm done here. So what I'm going to do is tell you that you should follow me on all the social medias at El Destructo83. You can follow my bad friend Rafe Houston on all the social medias at Faces Feels Cast. You can follow the show on all the social medias at Okada Shorts. You can follow the lovely people who make this podcast possible, the Count Out Podcasting Network, at Count Out Pod on all those same social medias. One cool thing that Count Out Pod has started doing recently is they've opened up a Patreon. If you find the naive stupidity of our giving away a free show business model to be oddly charming and would like to give us gifts of money, that's the best way to do it. They have tiers starting as low as $3. They also go up to a $5 and $10 amount. $3, $5, or $10 a month will go quite a ways away to helping us all put out more content and improve the network as a whole. And we understand that not everybody has the money it takes to give us money. And if you don't, then that's cool. You can definitely help us out by liking, subscribing, rating, leaving reviews, that sort of thing. And definitely please share the podcast with all of your friends who are into things like Puro. And if they're not into Pro, share it with them too. You never know. As of right now, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to shout out Riff Your Pod on Instagram and Bandcamp. The fantastic Owen is going to see us off right now with a fucking ripper theme song. And I'm going to go pet my puppy and make some pasta. So, that's not a euphemism. It's my dog. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. And until next time, keep it right, keep it tight, keep it what? Short.
Treasure here! How did you know?
There always be treasure in the independent waters, matey.
Why don't more people come here for their hunt for treasure, Captain?
It'd be a hard one to find, but if you want to make it easier to find, tune into Independent Waters on the Count Out Network.
Every Wednesday with your hosts, me, Zach Batista.
And me, Mikey Manfredi.
As we take you through the independent wrestling scene and find the treasure buried beneath the surface.
Whether you're new to indie wrestling or have been watching for years, this show is for you.
That's Independent Waters every Wednesday on the Count Out Network.
See you there, landlubbers.